Hi, okay, this is a different camera, right. Where Darkness Rules. This is one of those story poems. There was a brand new day coming, so he was led to believe, and a message from the apostle, from the town where widows grieve. He was planning his journey, while others were planning his fate. He heard birds sing in the distance, saw the sunrise on the wane. He knew before he set off that he wouldn't be back again. The devil took his hand and led him away from Saviour's gate. In the rundown part of town, she rubbed the sleep from her eyes, saw a map on a pillow with a note saying, "This way madness lies." She threw some things in a case and hurried out into the night. The concierge was waiting. He handed her the bill. She said, "I'll settle it when I get back, but that won't be until..." The sentence stayed unfinished as the hand around her throat squeezed tight. Following his instincts, he turned back on his heels. He muttered, "Everybody's sympathizing, but nobody knows how it feels to face down your future and find an empty veil staring back." A shot scraped the dust behind him, and he ran for cover as a mocking voice came down to him, taunting, "Say goodbye to your lover." He heard an engine start and saw tires squealing down the track. She lay slumped on the back seat. Her mind was in a whirl. Her memory started moving. She watched their story unfurl. Two lonely people, shackled by choices that they'd made. Their paths crossed at the market. Their hearts crossed at paradise. He said, "I've walked away from fate once. I won't do it twice." They spent 3 months in bliss. Today she's wishing that's where they had stayed. In an old broke-down cabin, a plan was being prepared. A voice in the darkness hissed, "I love it when you're scared." She was still in a daze. She barely knew what was going on. How long her torment lasted, she never would know. First came the vile words, and then came the blows. As she lay sobbing on the floor, he showed her a can of gas and sneered, "I came prepared." He said, "I'll call the cops tomorrow. Say, I don't know where you went. I've covered all the bases. It'll look like an accident. You like to cheat on people? Let's see you cheat the devil tonight." She refused to beg for mercy, knowing he wanted her to. From broken lips she mocked him. "I guess this means we're through." So even after all the blows, the little man knows he did not dim her light. He pulled out a match and said, "This is where it ends." She leaned up and laughed. "Can't we even be friends?" He started towards her. One final kick goodbye was his intent. Then the cabin door burst open, and he was standing there. In surprise, the match was dropped, but he didn't care. "Get out, I've got work to do," he said. She knew right away what he meant. There were flames everywhere. He swiftly wrapped her in his coat, pushed her out the door. Then he went for the throat. He was barely half his size, but he had the power of love on his side. With love's vice hands on his throat, his vision grew blurred. "Sayonara, scum," were the last words that he heard. He couldn't shake him off, no matter how hard he tried. They watched from a distance until the flames had died down. She'll hear that final scream until they lay her in the ground. She relaxed in his arms, free at last from Satan's clutch. He carried her to the car. She asked, "Where do we go from here?" He said, "Ask me that tomorrow." She smiled, "My tomorrow is already here." He put the car in first, and they pulled away to the sunset's loving touch. Which is from my book, Journeys, Poems, Lyrics and Reflections. So that's like a story poem. That's like a tiny little mini movie, isn't it? Huh? I kind of like that one now. Hope I performed it okay. But it's better if you buy the book and read it yourself.